Hello and welcome to a new video series here on the Lötwig Fusel channel. We're going to continue the Unreal Engine 5 exploration. When I first made the video, this is like 1 hour video where I started writing C++ for the Unreal Engine, I never intended it to kind of like getting that big, but basically now it's the most viewed video on the channel, has over 200 likes and yeah, was doing quite well. So yeah, I have decided to actually continue on the series, or not continue, but basically start a new series. We now have the full version of Unreal Engine, so Unreal Engine 5 is now available, as you can see here. Up, it's gonna teaser here. You can add it to your library here by adding, click on the plus icon and selecting the 5.0 version. I already got it because it would take ages to basically get this started. I also did play a few things around and also tried to make another tutorial here, but I decided to go on a different approach, so here we are, gonna go on a new C++ tutorial for Unreal Engine 5. So the first thing that we want to do is click on launch and basically create a project, because this tutorial series is gonna be a very basic tutorial series. We're going to start at the beginning. It's not going to be long. The videos are going to be short. I'm going to focus on one feature per video, and I'm going to try to explain several stuff first before we getting into the real stuff and get started with creating everything and making nice things. Because like this is going to be planned, this video, not like the other one. Alright, so here we are. This is the Unreal Engine project browser. In this browser we can see all of the games that have been created with the Unreal Engine on our system. Like a few things that I tried, like this was the video that I planned to continue on for the other series, but it was too complicated and too long. This was the old tutorial that I did. This is like the new demo game, which you definitely should check out. So if you are new to Unreal Engine, just and you want to see the full glory of Unreal Engine 5, and you want to see maybe a default scene, just pause it. Go, just pause the video, of course, go back to the Epic launcher, which magically disappeared. There it is. Go to samples and click on the Lyra starter game, and you can basically say create project, and it's going to create yourself a new project that you can start and play and test out, modify some things, see how this project was done, and basically see what's going on. Alright, then there are also a few playground projects of myself and this banner tutorial. So, what we want to do here to create a new project is click on game, because we want to create a game. And actually we don't want to get any template. We might gonna redo this later on when we know what each thing is. If we have a good understanding of each of the base classes or the most common classes in the Unreal Engine, we might then go and create a third person or first person or top down game, whatever is going to come into my mind when we are getting to this. So we want to start with a blank project. We want to select C++ because, well, there's a C++ tutorial. The target platform, of course, is desktop, but I don't want to write something for mobile devices. You might want to do, but I don't. Then you have this quality preset. I'm going to select this maximum, starter content on, ray tracing off. You can always change these later on. So, right, so this is going to be the new CPP tutorial. And it's going to be stored in UE5 tutorials. It's just a part here where my stuff is going to be stored. Alright, so now the next thing that I want to do is hit create to create a project for ourselves. And while the project is being created, I want to talk a bit about how I planned this tutorial series. So basically what I've planned is to basically go through the basic classes of Unreal Engine, show you how the Unreal Engine work, how we can tinker around and implement our own stuff and how each of these systems come together. This is not going to be a scientific tutorial where we're going to explain each possibility. This is more a hands-on tutorial. So we're going to start here, explore things, go into the depth, but not like in a theoretical standpoint. I'm not like the guy who has fancy animations on the screen, because I don't have the time to do them. So we're just going to go hands-on and do a practical approach on everything. And basically what I want to do is I want to explain you several classes. We're going to start very simple. I'm going to basically try to explain to you the Unreal Engine class hierarchy as we go. And at some point we are like deep down in the class hierarchy, have explained characters, have explained pawns, everything, network, maybe even network stuff. And then we are on a point where we can actually build a level. Our own game, and then we're gonna do it in a different project. Alright, so Unreal Engine has now finally showed up. We're just gonna click dismiss on this plugin pop-up, And what I'm also want to do is I want to click update on this box because the project file is out of date. I think this is just an issue because like the template that was generated by the launcher is not matching the engine version. But we should just be able to click update, and there we go. Yeah, nothing has changed. So this is the full glory of the Unreal Engine, and as you might also have seen, a Visual Studio instance is also started up. I'm going to bring this to you as soon as we are done here in the engine itself. So you can see that the engine is now open, and we have this full screen or nearly full screen viewport, as well as this details panels and the scene outline. So the scene outline basically is a list of all objects that are in the scene, but you should definitely notice I'm like explaining too much stuff actually, because like if you start with C++, you probably know the Unreal Engine, right? But if you don't, basically this is a hierarchy, you can group stuff together. This is just everything that's in the scene. For example, if I would take a look at the static meshes, I'm going to find the chair, and as you can see, if I click the chair, you can see it's going to be selected here on the viewport as well, and we also get this gizmo here that we can use to move the object. And basically navigating in this viewport is also very easy. You can right click here and drag the mouse, and you can see that the camera is moving. As soon as I am releasing off right click, I have my mouse back and can click the buttons again. While I'm holding right click and move around, I can also use the WASD keys, just like in a first person game or third person game, to basically fly around the scene and see what's going on here. And basically what I can also do, of course, I don't need to select the chair up here in the outliner. I can also select the chair by clicking on here. So by clicking on this other chair here, you can see now it is selected. While this chair is selected, you can see that we have this gizmo again, and now we can actually use this one. You can see we have these different arrows that point in different directions, and if we click one of them, we can move the chair in the specified direction. So you can see now I can move it here, front to back, take the other one, yeah, that side, or also can move it up. Of course, common commands like Ctrl-Z always work. To put it back onto the ground. As you can see, we can also click in between two of these arrows, for example like the green and the red one. If I click in between of them, you can see that I can move it freely around without changing the height. So I'm basically moving it around the scene, but I'm not changing its height. This is really helpful if you are like that, placing the chair in the level. You can like move close to the table, and then you can like go say, okay, I want to move it here. As you can see, the moving is currently a bit chunky. You can change this. Up here you have different modes. So for example, this one here on the right is scaling. This one in the center is rotation, and this one on the left is position. If I click this 10, this number 10, and I'm gonna get a pop-up with a snap size. Basically, this is the grid we were snapping on. I can maybe change this to 5. And now if I would go in here, you can see that the position is a bit more precise, because we have basically double the resolution, from 10 to 5. We could go even lower and select 1. This is going to give us the finest result, and now you can see I have really good control. And you're probably going to change this depending on what task you are doing. If you are mainly polishing up your level and basically laying out objects in the scene very detailed, so basically on here, then you probably are on this fine one, so that you can basically move them around very independent and without big distances. But if you're doing big level loadout, you might be up to 210 again, or 50. And you can do this as well for rotation and scaling. Speaking of rotation and scaling, you can easily rotate and scale by pressing the spacebar. You can see that the gizmo is changing every time I press the spacebar. We were previously on that arrow gizmo. If I'm now going to press the spacebar, we're going to be at the rotational tools, and now I can basically click the axis that I want to rotate and rotate the piece around here. There's nothing like free rotate. This is just that direction, and that direction. You can see that I can see the angles that I'm rotating, so that we can also see what's going on. Currently we are on this 10-degree freedom, but you can also go onto different ones here, or even divisions of 360 degrees to get interesting the results. By the way, if you find the camera too fast, you can also change the camera speed. So if I lower the speed, you can see that it takes way longer to zoom out or in. This might also be good if you are doing like this detailed loadout. You want to have a slow camera that's moving slow, so you can basically dial it in very precisely where you want to be with the camera, to then go in here and yeah, of course now I'm back on the hard grid, but basically go in here and do very detailed placements. But what you can also do is also change this if you are no longer needing it. I personally think 3 is gonna be a good starting point for us today. So as you can see, I can also move it and rotate it. And the next thing, this like with the square handles, this is actually now scaling. I can scale it up, stretch it, as you can see. It's looking a bit ugly, but you might want to go for that look. No, but you might have like a uniform object that you want to have different sizes of. So scaling is important sometimes. Or sometimes you just want to scale an object up uniformly. Though you just click the center white bar and boom, you can scale it up uniformly. Or even you can go even negative, which is flipping it that. This case. So we can go here and make a nice big glass sculpture. Or you might want to say, no, guess what, I'm not gonna have the glass sculpture on here. And by the way, this is a control that I haven't mentioned yet. If you want to move with your object, you can hold the shift button while you are moving these the gizmo arrows, and you can see the camera is fixed and moves with the object, which is really helpful at certain points when you're doing your level setup. Right, but in this case I just want to have a grounded statue, so let me scale this up way bigger, because this is now some art that shall stand on the floor, like that. Maybe move that one around. We're gonna tell you what this is in the future. We get to it. But now I can like see, yeah, scale this up a bit. Alright, there might be a point where you actually want to play your level and see what's going on. And you can do this just by hitting this play button up here, play in editor. And you can see we are in here, we get some audio cues, we have the big glass statue. We have our table, the chairs, and you can see moving is the same. Now the mouse is locked. You don't need to press right click here if you're playing. This is just because how the game is coded. And you can see that WASD always works, and yeah. We are not kind of like in a game we can fly around. This is something that you're probably gonna change if you're doing a first person, a third person game, but that's where the templates came in, where you have like, like select first person or third person. You can always write them yourself, of course. But templates always help you getting things done easily. So yeah, now we can play our game. Now we want to exit it. Press escape. Nothing works. How can I get back? Well, always is the Windows key that can come into rescue. But then we can get our mouse back again. But I'm going to show you the proper way. The proper way to tap out of that. There are different reasons why you want to tap out of it. You might want to go out here to stop simulating the game. Or you might want to actually go out to maybe check your objects. Like you could check your statue. If the statue has like a parameter assigned that we're going to see in future videos, you can check the parameter value actually. To get out of this, you're going to press Shift F1 and you get your mouse back, but the game is still running. Now you are free to move around, to go into your outline, to select the statue, view all the properties of the statue here, see the material. You could even like go in and try to swap this to some material. That's looking quite interesting. And as soon as I'm gonna click into the viewport again, the mouse is trapped again and we are back into our play mode. To get out, Shift F1. And we are back in, okay. So yeah, I'm out again and I can like go in now and select other things. Maybe change the chair material to, oh my god, whatever that is. And I can preview any settings. But you need to be aware, as soon as the game stops the game state that is currently running here, so all changes you make while the game is running are actually discarded. So now I'm basically out here and I can stop the game by pressing this the stop button. You can do this with the mouse, and you can actually see that as soon as I do this, I'm gonna get some errors here that I changed something. Material basically can see that the static mesh component is not movable. So basically it's static. It's not meant to be changed, and it's gonna give us a warning here. Because we changed it during runtime, but for ourselves it's okay, this was just a preview. It gets discarded anyway, so yeah, that's the story. One thing that I also want to show you, if you play, you can also do this by hitting Alt P, actually. If I hit Alt P, playing again, and I want to directly stop, I can press Shift Escape. If I'm clicking Shift Escape, I'm always out directly. Shift F1, give me my mouse back, change stuff, see stuff, modify stuff. Shift Escape, go out of it. These are very important key commands, because you're going to need them always. But actually, always when you start a game, Unreal Engine is actually showing you at the startup a little hint that Shift F1 is going to give you back your mouse. And yeah, here we are back in the editor. So I also mentioned that we are going to use C++. Well, that's the full point of this tutorial series. And I mentioned that Unreal Engine has actually created ourselves a Visual Studio solution. And I'm now going to open this up and show this to you. So here we are, Visual Studio 2022, because yeah, it's new Unreal Engine, new Visual Studio. And we have a fresh solution for our game. And we have several folders in here. We have the engine with the project UE5. This is actually containing all the source of the engine. So the complete engine source is in here. As far as I know, you need to be elightable to get the source. If you're not elightable for the source, you're not going to get it, as far as I know. But you can always check this at your Unreal Engine profile. It's just you just need to accept the oil, and then you can get access to the source code. Actually, it's not that hard. And yeah, then you get the access, and always, if you want to see why is that not working, you can actually go down and take a look how the Unreal Engine features are implemented, how your application is called. You can debug your application in here, and you can basically see, from where am I called, how is this all built up, and you can basically debug your application because all the Unreal Engine source is basically attached. Now the second folder is the games folder. Here we have the project with the name of our game, the new C++ tutorial, new CPP tutorial, and this is going to contain all the source code of our project. So you can see we have several folders in here. We have this new project file, which is basically a project that defines how this module, this C++ code module, is loaded from the engine. We don't need this yet. We have this config file, a folder, which is having some configuration files here that you could now go in and change. So default game, default engine. So basically you can see default graphics ARGA is DirectX 12. So we are DirectX 12 here. And you could go in here and change some configuration stuff here if you want. But in this case, we just want to leave them by default for now. We might do this in the future as well. And now getting to the interesting folder, the source folder. The source folder is going to contain another folder and some C# script. The Unreal Engine is actually using a C# application for its build system. So it's not using like the Microsoft build tool. It's not using like Premake, CMake or something like that. It's actually using a very smart own build system, which I am really surprised nobody has written something similar for general C++ projects. But yeah, maybe someone will do at a time, but I don't have the time currently, but I might do in the future. Yeah, but basically it's having a very smart build system where you can basically set up how your module is built. We're not going to go into that now. In the future, if we need to change something here, we might want to do and go in here. If we might want to have some external libraries that get pulled in, we need to do this eventually here in our module, because our module is then going to basically depend on something differently. So basically what you do is you create like a module that implements or contains the source code for that library, and then you kind of like depend to that module here from your build information. So it's a very smart and easy build system. And actually we have two different files here. The one is for the game, when we are building it for the game, and the other one is for the editor. So you can see target type editor and target type game. So for the basically we have one file for the editor and one file for the game itself. This might be helpful if we have some configuration that depends on like preprocessor constants, so that we kind of like have some more exposed editor controls in the editor. So maybe a few more parameters, some buttons where we can like revive our character and stuff like that. So the function revive, or a function give me infinite money or something like that, that you don't want to have in the game, because you don't want to get it to be exploited by cheats and stuff like that. So you might have a constant here for the preprocessor defined in the build system only on the editor. I mean, there is already a thing in Unreal Engine that is only defined on editor builds, but you kind of like get the point. You can have different build configurations depending on the if you're playing at editor or if it's really a game that you ship. Alright, so these are the two build scripts, not really interesting for now. And what we also get is this new CPP tutorial folder. This new CPP tutorial folder is gonna contain a few more things. Again, it's containing a C# build script. And this build script is now basically a common build script that basically defines what's always required. So basically we are always requiring the core U object, the engine, and the input core for our module. So Unreal Engine core, U object core is basically for the holy superclass U object, which is like everything that we're going to implement, or we're going to basically extend several classes like components, actors, and stuff like that, and they all like are based on a superclass which at some point is going to be end up at the U object. Then of course we are requiring the Unreal Engine, so all the engine stuff, the global engine state that's going on, we need this. And we also have the input core, which is basically user input. And if you would need something more, some more dependencies, you can always add them here. And you can easily then use them here. So very straightforward to do actually, if you know the module name, of course. Now, actually, the Unreal Engine by default creates two classes, or basically two C++ files, and indirectly two classes. So the first one is the new CPP tutorial. You're never going to change something in here. Even though this is kind of like implementing a class, it's doing this under the hood. So if you would take a look at the implementation, you can see that there is this implement primary game module, f default game module implementation, new CPP tutorial, and stuff like that. This is basically just a function that registers our code to the Unreal Engine. So this is kind of like required by the Unreal Engine, though that it knows that we are basically programming an Unreal Engine game. And by the way, of course, I'm going to zoom in a bit now. I love that I need to do that, so now I have to not do this in editing later on. But yeah, so basically this is some source code that gets always compiled, whatever this does. If it's exposing a function, if it's actually you can see it expands to a struct, so it's basically a struct, aka class, that's probably going to be also instantiated there, that is kind of like sitting there statically, and it's going to be instantiated and can be found by the engine, something like that. If you would want to actually take a look at what this is, you can always peek the definition here, because we have the source attached. And yeah, implement target name registration, implement game module. So we register basically a name here, something like that, and we register a module, the game module itself. And if I would peek down even deeper, I'm actually gonna end up here, so actually you can see, alright, this is a DLL export. So we're gonna actually export the DLL function called initialize module, and later on, when the engine basically loads our DLL, so our DLL gets compiled and loaded by the engine then looks for this initialize module function, and basically we're probably gonna call this, and when the engine is calling it, it's getting back this iModule interface, and with this interface the engine knows everything about our code module basically. But this is all generated under the hood, we don't need to care about this, but that's just how it works under the hood. Alright, we're also gonna get a game mode base. This is something that gets always created. It's a game mode. We're not gonna explain too much things about the game mode, but basically it is like a high-level class that manages our game, something like that. It has not some implementation attached because it's just not used. It's just created by default, and by default we're just gonna get a game mode. Alright, so now we have explained everything that's in here. One very important thing, you're never gonna add some code via Visual Studio. You're gonna always add code through the Unreal Engine, and then Visual Studio is gonna prompt you that the project has been reloaded or modified. Do you wanna reload? I'm gonna say reload, and boom, the source code is gonna be there. So you just use Visual Studio for programming as an IDE. And another thing, it's really not feasible to actually program the Unreal Engine with IntelliSense. It doesn't work. It needs ages. As soon as you change something, it needs ages again. It's not productive. I really recommend you to get Visual Assist. Visual Assist is a an enhancement plugin for Visual Studio, basically. It do cost money. I don't know if there are probably some free alternatives to that, but basically what Visual Assist does is it brings a better version of IntelliSense, and actually a version of IntelliSense or an own implementation of IntelliSense. I think it's not called IntelliSense. How is it called? It's just called Visual Assist. Not default IntelliSense, it's just called Visual Assist. And the nice thing is that Visual Assist was actually tuned especially for the Unreal Engine, so it actually knows how the Unreal Engine works and thus can help you really much when implementing Unreal Engine games. So do invest a bit of money into Visual Assist if you can afford it, because it's really gonna help you out, not only for the Unreal Engine, also on your general C++ projects. Alright, so that was everything. That concludes like the basic editor controls and the C++ source code, how it's going to be created. In the next video, we're actually going to take a look on how objects work here, and we're going to start by implementing a own part of an object. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and also activate the bell so that you get notified when the next C++ video on Unreal Engine gets released, so that you are the first one who can actually watch it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. See you in the next one. Bye.